I spoke with over 1,000 millionaires one-on-one over a period of 2 years. The average net worth was $2 million, and some were worth substantially higher than that. But I'm going to give you the wealth secrets that have really changed my life, have allowed me to 10x my net worth. A lot of it's come from these conversations and from these secrets, and so it can be potentially life-changing for you. So I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to give you the 3 wealth secrets that I learned from this, and I'm going to share a great quote at the end of this video. And if you do me a favor, just go ahead and smash that like button. It helps other people to find this video. It really helped me out. I'd really appreciate it. It'll take just a second, and then we'll jump in. So you may wonder why and how I was able to have these calls with all these high net worth people. Like how does that even work, right? Well, I had a partner who was really well known, who was in the multifamily space, and we had a platform. We had a platform to be able to set up and kind of draw some of these people in and say, hey, if you're interested in investing with us, come and jump on a call. So that's what I did. Now, I asked some questions, and I want to share these with you because it shows you kind of the person that I'm speaking with and just, what really their background is. So these are people that their career background, we say, what's your career? What do you do? A lot of them are doctors, lawyers, CPAs, business owners, retirees, people that typically that are very busy, usually make a pretty good income. And so they were looking for things like ways to reduce taxes, ways to leverage, to not necessarily have to run an investment themselves, but to be able to grow that. So that was really important. The net worth, we'd asked, what is your net worth? Some people were very high net worth, 10, 20 million or higher. Some people didn't share. The average net worth, it was around $2 million. And so, just showing you, these are people that, really have some means, that are really trying to, learn more about investing. And so we had this call, and, net worth was one thing we asked. We also asked about the investing experience. We said, what sort of investment experience do you have? And it was all kinds of, a lot of single family stuff. A lot of people did stocks and other sorts of, Wall Street investments, some angel investing. Some people had multiple businesses, or they'd done multifamily or other types of syndicated deals. So, it was really interesting just to see this type of person. Okay, this is the person that's coming in. They're busy people, but yet they're taking the time to do this. So the first kind of secret nugget that I wanted to share with you and just drop here is that these people were interested in learning about investing. And I know you may not think that that's significant, but these are people that were already wealthy, right? People that are already, 2 million net worth plus, a lot of them. And why were they taking their busy time to have a 30-minute phone call to learn about this investment? They were probably doing it with other groups too. Why would they do that? Because for them, they wanted to have a place where they could put their money, they would work hard. They wanted to continue to learn and grow because they realized that was not only the path to get to financial freedom, but it was a path to stay at financial freedom. So a lot of people think that, if you're wealthy, you can just literally sit back and you don't have to do anything. Well, that's not really true. I mean, that's a good way to lose your wealth. But if you keep educating yourself, you keep learning, you keep kind of discovering what's out there, that's really how people get to the next level. And that's whether you're not wealthy and you want to get there, or you're somebody who already has some wealth and you're trying to say, how do I keep my wealth and not lose it with inflation or lose it with other investing, or even to grow it even more? So education is so important. Brian Tracy has this quote. He says, if you want to earn more, you've got to learn more. And so all of these people were really interested in learning about our investments, learning about different opportunities that were out there. So I really encourage you to continue to look at different possibilities for you. Have calls with people, like that are doing different types of investments. Even if you're not necessarily interested, you might learn and value something that's really, really important. So really the idea of just continuing to be a learner about investing is so critical. All right, so the second wealth secret that I found from this group was that they really valued their passive investments more than active investing. And what I mean by that is that they really made a distinction between which investments involved more of their time and which ones did not involve more of their time. Because these people, a lot of them were very well-paid professionals. There was a lot of things they're involved with, whether they're a doctor or they're a business owner or they just like to travel or be with family. And a lot of them had made a shift from having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 houses to start to look at passive investments. And that's really a good question if you're curious if your investment really is a passive investment. If it requires more of your time and more of your effort, if you're getting the calls, making the decisions, the property manager is calling you on stuff, it's not really passive. If the thought of scaling is overwhelming to you, it's really not passive. I have a good friend who owns several houses. He's trying to pay them all off. I say, hey, don't pay him off. You can do other things with it, but he doesn't value his time correctly. His returns are lower on the deals that he has. And it's unfortunate that he has to be the one that's in control of doing all the different forms of the investing, right? So I think that passive investing, especially for this particular crew, it was really, really important because they valued their time so much. And I would hear it in statements like, yeah, I want to spend more time with family, or yeah, I'm really busy, or yeah, I have all this stuff going on. So they were looking for passive investing. Now, there is this myth about passive investing, and I believe it's somewhat true, that there really is no such thing as passive investing, right? Because you still have to do diligence on a deal. Even if it's a passive investment, you still have to vet the property and vet the deal. And that takes work. And then once you invest, then you do get the mailbox money, which is great. But there are things that are more passive. So getting, this group really, I realized, was really interested in getting investments that were more passive. So, it's really been said that time, you can make more money, but you can't make more time. It's the great equalizer, right? We all have only a very fixed amount of time. So if there's things that you're doing, whether it's in your personal life or in your investing life, that are taking up too much time, it's something to consider when you look at different types of investing. So value your passive investing above your active investing, and you'll be like this group of millionaires. Okay, so the third secret that I learned from all of these millionaires was that reducing and eliminating taxes were of a primary concern. This group really did not want to pay more in taxes than they really needed to, right? And I think that's something that's very normal. I don't want to pay more in taxes than I want to. But for high earners in particular, people that have a W-2 and are an employee, such as somebody who's a lawyer or works for a large law firm, or somebody who's a doctor that's not their own practice, they have very, very high earnings, and they typically get taxed very high. So typically between 40 and sometimes as high as 60% income tax, which is just that's really painful, right? To think somebody could get taxed that highly. So there are ways people were finding, and some of these people were finding ways to reduce taxes in their ordinary income as well as their investment income, right? So we have two buckets here. We've got the ordinary income, and there are ways through, I've done some videos on this about how to reduce ordinary income, any taxes you would pay, how to reduce those to zero. Now it's a little tricky, but you can do it. A few ways. I did a video on this talking about if you're a real estate professional or your spouse is a real estate professional, that's one way you could potentially reduce your taxes. I was able to reduce my taxes over a couple of years by $90,000 of taxes that I would have paid. Because I'm a real estate professional, I was able to reduce that. There's other things that if people are not real estate professionals that are in the energy space that allow for kind of one-for-one reduction of income. 100K invested in a certain type of deal is 100K or give or take reduction against the ordinary income, which is huge, right? Because then you get, not only do you get the returns of whatever they are, 15% or 20% per year, you also get this reduction of income or reduction of how much you actually made on paper, which is amazing. So it takes the returns even much higher. So that's one bucket, is the ordinary income. They were really interested, this group of millionaires was interested in how to do that. And the other side was on the investments that they were doing, the passive investments. They were investing in deals, they were investing in different things. They don't want to pay taxes on this, right? And that's much easier to do, to defer, to write off, to have different investments that have tax advantages to where you don't pay on what you're making over here. So that's a great way to increase the amount that you're making, is to reduce your taxes. So there's this great quote I wanted to share with you by Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it says, it's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep, how hard it works for you, and how many generations you keep it for. I love that. It's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep, right? It's how hard it works for you. It's how many generations. So the idea of reducing taxes is so, so important. The idea of learning more is really important, really taking time to educate yourself and networking with other people. So I hope this was helpful for you. If it was helpful, consider subscribing. We have new content coming out every week around financial freedom, around investing, around inflation, around all these hot topics that people are interested in learning more about. Also, I'd love to see in the comments, what have you learned from your friends or family that are wealthy? Is there some things that you have learned that have really helped you on your journey? Thanks for taking the time. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.